Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local black-owned businesses and sadly has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibes and we creating, yeah. The sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah. Forever shining this light, we keep it blazing, yeah. Boy, forever shining this light. Hey, thank the Lord, my cup is full and running over. All who never like we, I got love we know. Baby girl just text me, say she coming over. And when she reach it, want me fit turn off the phone. Turn the lights down low, turn up the stereo, yeah. Alton Ellis, Gregory Isaac, Dennis Brown. Have you ever been in love? Now bad vibes can't stop this good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibes we keep creating, yeah.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Sounds that make you feel right, we keep it blazing, yeah.
Yes, indeed, we do around here. We do keep it blazing. And we, you know, it's funny, we were talking off the mic. It's sometimes when we talk about good vibes, people think about something I call toxic positivity, which is good vibes for no reason, good vibes, ignoring that life be lifing, and that's not what we're doing right now. Really excited to welcome in our next guest. She is an author, and she's got a project that is actually dedicated to the victims of the Eaton and Palisades fire. Sometimes when life offers us tough times, we fight back by helping someone else. And clearly, that's what she's done. Her book is 31 Days of Good Vibrations, How to Stay Up When the World is Pulling You Down. Erin Boyards-Dennis, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Great to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you're affectionately known as the Good Vibes Lady, the Good Vibes Lady, which sounds, sounds good. We all need more good vibes.
Right.
We need to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. Manifest positivity, but yours comes from overcoming challenges, not from, skipping through Barbie world. With no pushback. In other words, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to be positive when you have no challenges in your life.
Right.
Being the good vibes lady when you're juggling alligators is a whole other conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that so applies to me. You know, when I when I speak, I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not preaching, and saying, okay, this is the way you need to do it, and coming from a high place. I've lived in the trenches. I've been in the trenches. I've suffered loss. My late husband succumbed to colon cancer, stage 4 colon cancer at the age of 45 in 2003.
So sorry.
Yeah.
That's really,
Yeah.
really young,
Yeah.
and sadly more and more common.
Yes,
with
yes, it
younger
is.
men,
Yes,
yeah.
that's another dedicated show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would be more than happy to expand on that. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. My parents moved out here in 1961 as part of the Great Migration.
Okay.
We settled here in Leimert Park.
All right. That's why we have that. That's why we have that New Orleans corridor right there on Jefferson.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Kudos to Heather and everyone
Yeah,
involved in that.
Councilmember Hutt, yes.
Absolutely. So grew up in Leimert Park, raised on Hubert and Santa Barbara, which became Martin Luther King. I attended Transfiguration Elementary School. I'm from a very devout Catholic family. Attended Audubon across the street during the summers, and then went on to Immaculate Heart. In my, I think it was my junior year, my parents sent me to Europe. And I remember I gave them a little pushback. I said, why Europe? Why aren't you sending me to Africa? They had raised me to be very proud of my heritage and all aspects of my personality. So I pushed back on that. But I ended up going to Europe, came back, came back, and then I was out of school for about 4 months. I think it was my senior year at Immaculate Heart. I had mononucleosis.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I was out of school for a number of months, and then I went back. And then I took a religious studies course, and my instructor for that course was this black guy. He had this big fro, and he seemed like a revolutionary. And this was the time in the 70s of Angela Davis and all that. So
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And that young man who had just graduated from Immaculate Heart College was Mark Ridley Thomas.
Oh, that's wild. Mark Ridley Thomas in his big afro days.
And his big afro days, I'm here to tell you. So so that was my first encounter with him. And went on from there, attended UCLA, and then I ended up at USC. And while at USC, I contracted spinal meningitis.
Oh my.
Yeah, and afterwards I was told that I was about an hour from death if I had not gone to emergency when I did. So I went through that, overcame that. My immune system by that point was a bit compromised, and I knew that, a lot of fatigue that I dealt with. But I pushed through, married my childhood sweetheart, whom I'd been with for 10 years. That marriage did not last. I recognized that it was not for me. It was not for us. And so I came out of that. And then I met a gentleman who was probably the total opposite of my first husband. Both husbands were raised right here in View Park. But I ended up meeting a gentleman, not meeting him, we kind of grew up together, in Jack and Jill. But Michael Stennis and I, yeah, you're familiar, that world. And so I began seeing a very charismatic, very demanding, very macho man named Michael Stennis, and we ended up marrying in 1989. And it was like living Black Lives of the Rich and Famous. His family lived in the storied Nat King Cole home in Hancock Park.
Wow.
And that was our home, and it was absolutely incredible.
I mean, that is sort of the stereotype of Jack and Jill, right?
Oh yeah,
You meet
that track.
You meet your fabulous.
Yes.
I think it's. There's a version of it that's
Yes.
a Tyler Perry show, right?
Yeah.
The fabulous, wealthy,
Oh yeah.
black elite, I guess, if
Yes.
you will,
Yeah.
of LA, and
Yeah. But that was not my. That wasn't my personal track in life, and I wasn't raised to do that. If anything, my mother raised me to be a bit of to give pushback, to really find myself. And during my teenage years, I veered away from Catholicism. And I began going to a place in West Hollywood called the Bodhi Tree.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Bodhi Tree.
And I would go in, and I remember the first time going in there, I went in, I poured myself a cup of tea, and I had just prior to that, I had read Wayne Dyer's Erroneous Zones. So I was familiar with a different way of thinking about spirituality and my life and how to move through life and how to overcome situations. And going to the Bodhi Tree, I would walk in and I would just say, okay, what book am I supposed to read today? And so, I would go into one of the rooms and I would pick a book, and it would be a book by Howard Thurman, one of our African-American mystics. And then I would go in again, and I would be reading something about Sojourner Truth, Shakti Gawain, more Wayne Dyer, on and on and on. So this caused me to go down this amazing rabbit hole of self-discovery and opening myself up to spirituality and self-awareness, and really just learning how to overcome by going within more.
We are talking with Erin Boyer Stanton. She is the author of 31 Days of Good Vibrations. How do you get to those good vibrations when before you even get out of college, faced near-death situations repeatedly, and certainly sharing the story of losing her own husband at the young age of 45. We'll continue the conversation, how we get to those 31 days. We all need some good vibrations and beyond, and why this is for the Eaton and Palisades fire victims. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
She's sharp. She's fearless.
I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how it's going to get clicks, stop it now.
She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here.
I am Amanda Seales.
Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it.
You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works.
This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Erin Words Dennis is my guest. She's an author, and this must be actual, real, and authentic Angelino's Day. On First Things First, we had Daisy Jane from the Daisy Black LA Food Tours, born and raised in LA. Now we have you, born and raised in Lamert.
Born in New Orleans.
Born in New Orleans.
Came
That's
out
right.
here.
Part of the Great Migration. So part of the New Orleans, LA community, which
Absolutely.
I didn't realize was so deep.
Oh, yes.
It's quite deep.
Oh, yes.
And, sharing your journey and how we got to where we are now, 2 life-threatening diseases before you graduate from college, living sort of the black version of lifestyles of the rich and famous, or rich and sort of famous
Yeah.
here in LA.
Right.
And then your husband dies very
Right.
young
Yeah.
at the age of 45. Obviously, you're mourning that. You put up a foundation to help people, other
Right.
people dealing with this disease. How did it change? I mean, did that change your lifestyle? Did it change your mindset? Because many times when we have to deal with sudden and unexpected tragedies, there are sudden and unexpected life shifts. You were talking about your journey to the Bodhi tree and your
Right.
understanding of other ways of thinking.
Right. When my husband passed, and I speak about this in the book for one of the days having to do with grief. What I did, I don't advise people to do. I had an 8-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and my focus was them. So what I did was I took my own grief, putting my children first, and I put my own grief way back on a back burner somewhere.
Oh boy. Okay.
But grief is this interesting kind of animal. It went back there, but it waited very patiently for me to recognize it. And I was able to focus on my children. Our finances as a family shifted. The economy shifted. I had to take our foundation and put that to sleep, so to speak. And Mama had to get a job so Mama could keep the kids in private schools. That was a decision I made. I felt they had
And
been
those
through too much.
schools are expensive.
That's another conversation.
That's another whole show. Yes, indeed.
They really are. So, but it was for the kids.
Right. You didn't want to drastically change their
I didn't
world
want them to have
more than it had already
another
drastically changed.
huge
Yeah.
shift. So I did that, put everything into them, came close to being married again. That did not happen. And once again, that grief just, sat back there, just waited. I didn't deal with it. I didn't face it. And it wasn't until Dominique, because he passed in 2003, it wasn't until the pandemic in 2020 when I really became quiet. I had raised the kids, they're in college. My daughter was studying for her master's in Milan, Italy. And I was just forced to be quiet. And all those emotions came up. And I was just naked dealing with these emotions. My mind was free to take them from way back on that back burner and look at them and feel them and experience them. So once again, I don't advise people to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's better to allow yourself to move through it in stages when it happens. Do whatever you need to do. But there's not a right way or a wrong way to grieve. And I've discovered that as well.
So even though you had shifted your thinking and learned about, all of these self-help, or what they call, New Age, ancient wisdom kind of ways. I read a lot of self-help books. I find they actually do help. But you were still able to suppress your own grief. Here comes 2020. You have to deal with it. And then what happens?
Oh boy, what happens?
I mean, you're still standing.
Yeah, I'm still standing. For me, I feel that the undergirding, the spiritual undergirding from the time I was from birth, through Catholicism. I remember when I came out of my first marriage, my best friend, Kathy Choice, took me to a place called Maranatha. Some of your viewers may be going, I remember Maranatha
Church, yeah.
Billy Ingram.
Absolutely.
I started
May he
going
rest
to
in peace.
Yes, exactly. I started going to Maranatha, and I remember after going to Catholic Church till my early 20s, when I was coming out of the divorce, I remember walking into Maranatha and going, oh my God, I feel like I'm home. I could express, and I'm an expressive individual.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to, I could just be, and I could, if I wanted to hallelujah, if I wanted to, whatever I wanted to do, I felt free to show up as my authentic self.
So
there.
all of this, it's almost like you had done the spiritual homework of the time you invested in Catholicism, your time at Maranatha, your time at the Bodhi tree, so that when you finally were overcome by this grief, you were able to survive it
and call on
overcome
all those.
it.
Well, and call on all those principles to at least keep at a level where I could function on a day-to-day basis. And I continued to this day to be a student of, we call it New Age, but yes, you're right. This is ancient wisdom.
Well, I mean, that comes from Reverend Beckwith. He always
yes,
says
and
that.
I attend Agape.
He always says that New Age, ancient wisdom, which I do love. So you said you set out to write another book. I don't know. Were you writing about your grief? I don't know what you were writing about. But somehow, from the depths of your own despair, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you decided you needed to help other people.
So here's what happened. Shortly after my husband passed, I began writing chapters of a book. And it morphed over the years. I would take it out, put it away, take it out, put it away. And it morphed into chronicling the serendipitous and synchronistic experiences that took place before, during, and after his cancer diagnosis. And I'll give you an example of one of them. Shortly after my husband was diagnosed, we decided to start a foundation. And so we were doing a lot of studying and, learning more and more about colon cancer prevention and what have you. And so I came in one day, and he had been doing some studying of his own, and he said, Erin, look at this. Katie Couric lost her husband to colon cancer. And I said, I know that. And I looked at him in his eyes, and I said, we're going to meet her. And he knew enough about Creole women to know, oh boy, when they say something. And so he said, there you go with that Louisiana voodoo stuff. There you go. No, we're not. And I said, we're going to meet her. So a month later, he was out, and I was home, and the phone rang. And it was a producer from the Today Show.
Wow.
And the producer went on, they asked for Michael Stennis, and I said, he's not home, this is his wife. I said, can I take a message? And so they said, well, Katie is doing a 10-year follow-up to the riots, and she's coming out to LA, and she would like to interview John Mack, Chip Murray, and your husband. We had lost several of our Golden Bird locations during the riots, and so they wanted to interview him as well. So I sat there, I took the message, I hung up the phone, and I went, yeah, okay, it is about that, but there's another part to this.
Right.
So a month later, we were at the Golden Bird location that that we had on Slauson and West Boulevard. I was with my husband, and he and Katie were sitting down. She was interviewing him, and when the camera stopped rolling, she, just making small talk, she said, "So how are you today?" And he looked at her, and he was the picture of health. My husband was a very buff gentleman, and even though he was going through chemo, he, for a while, maintained his physicality. And so she said, "Well, how are you?" And he said, "Well, Katie, today was supposed to be my chemo day." And she said, "You're what?" And he said, "Katie, I have stage 4 colon cancer." And all of a sudden, this very composed woman, who's used to speaking to millions of people and, what have you, just broke. And she looked over at me, and I came over and we sat down, and that began our relationship with Katie. She said, "What can I do? How can I help?" And cut to after my husband passed, I ended up going to New York, meeting with her, and then she sent a crew to Los Angeles to chronicle our foundation and the work that we did. And that segment received a Black Journalists Association award.
Wow, amazing story. We are talking with Erin Boyer-Stennis, and her book. We'll tell you where to find it, what's in it, and where to find those good vibrations. Keep finding them when we come forward after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says officials are reviewing reports of a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's West Side.
We are focused on connecting New Yorkers to shelter and on establishing a pipeline to stable housing, not just moving New Yorkers from one place to another place.
Under city policy, outreach teams must engage with unhoused individuals for 7 days before any camp can be cleared. A Pennsylvania district attorney is facing criticism after defending an officer who detained Black teenager Jesse Lopez Jr. for wearing a hoodie. The teen was not charged with a crime, and the DA said Detective Tyson Havens was working undercover at the time while investigating a recent round of shootings. And Pharrell Williams is sparking fresh speculation about a new Jay-Z album. During Jay-Z's Yankee Stadium residency, Pharrell told the crowd the rap icon is getting ready to go to work, fueling rumors of new music. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now at Big O, get happy with our Healthy Car Special. Includes a full synthetic oil change, 4-tire rotation, alignment check, brake, battery, and windshield wiper check. Plus, fluids topped off, all for only $59.99. Healthy car, happy life. Now at your local Big O Tires.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers begin the second half of the season Friday night in New York against the Yankees. The 3-game series with the Yankees is part of a 9-game road trip for the Dodgers on the East Coast. The road trip will be a good test for the Dodgers to maintain their stature as Major League Baseball's best team. Spain is in the World Cup championship match after their 2-0 win over France in the semifinals. Spain will meet the winner of today's semifinal between England and Argentina. The World Cup final is Sunday in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The WNBA would prefer folks not to talk about this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. 65% of WNBA players are African American, but none of the 15 teams in the WNBA have an African American woman as their head coach. 7 of the head coaches are white women, 8 are men. The WNBA needs to work on this issue. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Oh no!
Straight the roof down.
I don't have time. Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580. Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Erin Boyard Stennis is with us, a.k.a. the Good Vibrations Lady. Her book is 31 Days of Good Vibrations, How to Stay Up When the World is Pulling You Down. And I think we need to get to some of these tips because I've been bragging about them this morning. And I also think that whether it's their personal finance, or what's happening in Washington, D.C., or the wars in the world, just there's a lot of reasons why folks are struggling right now. Particularly, I think the economy brings out a lot of hardship for people, which can happen in a cascading way, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you talked about, when your husband died. Now you're getting a job. Now you're taking up extra responsibilities with your kids. And I think folks are experiencing that in various ways. So what are some of the ways that we do stay up when it feels like the world is pulling us down?
I will tell you, one of the things that I started doing this in 2017. I was going through a rough patch, and something just prompted me to take out my phone, and under notes, I wrote at the top, in all capitals, gratitude journal. And I started with day one, and that day I forced myself, and I mean I had to force myself because I really was having my own pity party, but I forced myself to think about what I was grateful for that day, and I listed about 5 things, and I forced myself to do it the next day. I listed about another 5 things. And, you know, I decided I'm going to do this for a week, every single day. By the second week, I couldn't wait to list what I was grateful for in my gratitude journal. And I found myself throughout the day after that coming up with things and thinking, ooh, I can't wait to put that in my gratitude journal. And so that's a very actionable, immediate tool that people can do.
It's a book, and the only thing in there is things you're grateful for.
Well, yeah, you're using your phone.
Oh, you do one
yeah,
on your phone.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, because
I
used to make my child do that.
Yeah,
when he was little.
Yeah,
okay, at the end of the day, we're going to come up with 3 things we're grateful for.
Yeah, we used to do something in our family called high-low, what are, you know, three good things and maybe 1 or 2 things that weren't so good about the day.
Yeah.
But that's an immediate thing that you can do. Another thing is to monitor what you put before your eyes. I call it see no evil, which is extreme, but, you know,
so you can't watch TV.
Hello. In these days and times, we need to be careful. I spoke to so many people after the election. I had never spoken to so many people who just said, I just can't watch TV. I just can't listen anymore. I just can't. And, you know, there's this fine line, I feel, between getting the information you may need and then going down a rabbit hole of being consumed by it.
Yeah.
And when you go down that rabbit hole and can't stop listening, can't stop watching, it is affecting every fiber of your being. It is affecting your nervous system.
Your cells, literally.
It is affecting your cells.
Literally, yeah.
So it's, you know, see no evil, or, you know, be careful what you put before your eyes.
Right. Immediate diet, in a sense.
An immediate diet.
It's funny because, one of the things I told myself is, and it sounds simple, but it's when you're feeling melancholy or you're having a hard time, is don't be sad. What does that mean? It means feed yourself the things that make you happy. And that's water, that's good nutrition, that's the media intake, the music. Sometimes when I'm sad, I want to listen to more and more and more and more sad songs. Cry, go, oh man, I'm really feeling this. And other times it's like, nope, we're going to put on some Indie-RE right now. We're going to put on some Bob Marley.
Yeah, I talk about that as well. Listen to soothing sounds. You know, I love what so many young people are doing now. I've been attending sound baths for years, but it's become so popular now.
Yeah, everyone's
doing it,
which is
wonderful.
It is.
And if you can't get to one, Google it. There's so many sound bath offerings on the internet.
Yeah.
And so you just sit back in the comfort of your home and just let it wash over you. That's one way. And there's an immediate shift in how you feel and what's going on in your nervous system. You talk about the cells, you know, the cells are positively affected as opposed to when you're maybe consuming some negative programming or violent programming. You know, we're sensitive beings and we must treat our bodies as our temples. We must be careful what we consume, what we watch, what we speak.
Yeah, the speak part, that's a whole part that people overlook. What we speak, not only when people are listening, when we're in our car by ourselves.
And self-dialogue.
And for me, one of the most challenging is the way that I talk to myself inside my head. So can you be as nice to yourself as you are to others?
Yeah, you know, I have on this T-shirt.
Perfectly Imperfect, it says. It's very cute.
I have a T-shirt line, and this is my bestseller, Perfectly Imperfect. We are perfectly imperfect. In our imperfections, we have to accept ourselves as being exactly where we need to be. As we strive to go higher, as we strive to go deeper, as we strive to have more self-awareness, we must forgive ourselves if we feel we're falling short. We're where we're supposed to be. Just stay on the path.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done, because I think even more, it's always been this way, but even more always in my lifetime, I'll say, in the social media age where we're comparing ourselves to something that's probably not even real, but we want to be perfect. We want to have no, no lines in our faces and big bank accounts and we want to have what we see presented to us on social media, which may or may not be real.
Yeah, and I think, that's where the importance of being still, being quiet, meditating, having some type of practice comes in. Because the more you do that, you start to remember exactly who you are without all of those filters, without all of that learned stuff. Because we're all amazing human beings having this human experience on planet Earth right now, which is, to say planet Earth is wonky right now would be an understatement. But when you take that time to be alone, when you take that time to be in nature, I was just out in your office looking at Black Girls Gardening, and a lot of young people right now are into gardening. How wonderful. Be with the earth. Spend as much time as you can walking on the grass, being in the earth. It's really, really, really important.
Yeah, I mean, the scientists say it and the spiritualists say it, but it's one of those things that's sometimes we can roll our eyes, just like the sound bath. My friend Sahara Ali, who does our Mindful Mondays every Monday here on the station, she does sound bath. And she does sound healing. And I was rolling my eyes, 'cause even though she has helped me with so many other things, I was like, oh, this is a bridge too far. It wasn't until I was struggling and she helped me fix something. She was like, just be quiet. Because she was at my house. She had her gong. She was like, just be quiet. Just lay down. And then my hip felt better. And I was like, oh,
this is real.
This is real.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with this walk on the earth, go gardening. Yeah. It's one of the things that's real easy to roll your eyes at. That's what Grandma did, or that sounds airy-fairy.
But you just said something. That's what Grandma did. Our ancestors knew this stuff. Indigenous peoples of all cultures knew this stuff. Somehow it got lost as we assimilated, as we aspire to have more in the material world. Let's get back to what our ancestors knew and what they did.
And back to that ancient wisdom, New Age thought, ancient wisdom formula, which is not I don't mean like formula in that sense, but it is kind of a foundation that we can use.
Yes.
So you were able to nurse yourself, heal yourself to whatever degree. I mean, it's probably a lifelong journey after a loss like that.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things we were just talking about, I was actually in Denmark, some years ago, and I was filming a commercial. One of my many lives, I was filming a commercial, and I had gone to wardrobe to show them what I was going to wear for the shoot. And I had on a pair of sandals, and I had to go down a flight of stairs, and the sandals were slippery on the bottom, and I came down the stairs, and my feet went up in front of me, and I came down on my spine.
Ooh.
So they sent the doctor to my hotel room. He shot me up. I got through the shoot. Then they put me on a plane, and I came home, and it was my brother all those years ago. My children were itty-bitty at the time. My brother suggested that I try acupuncture. And my first thought was, meh. And then I went. And I was still on the table, meh. And then I got up, and the pain had subsided. And so from that time, which has been, a couple decades ago, I've been such a believer and an embracer, is that a word, of acupuncture.
It is now.
Yeah, well, which has been around for centuries.
But that's a great example, because that's one of those things you could definitely roll your eyes at.
Another
people want to stick a whole bunch of pins in me, and then I'm going to feel better.
Right.
But I never rolled my eyes at that, because I saw it helping my mom. And for me, that's been like a secret weapon when you get to the point where
Totally.
nothing can fix it.
Totally.
Okay, I'm going to go to
Yeah, it's become my first line of defense. That and massage, and if it's cost prohibitive for you to get a massage, try a foot massager, do something like that. So,
Right.
But these are things that there are so many different modalities that we can avail ourselves of to live at a higher vibration and just to be in a better state as we move through each day, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I do think of a lot of these things as my secret weapons. Being a health enthusiast, and people say, "Oh, how do you keep your energy? How do you stay youthful?" And a lot of it is just that: finding the things that work and then using them.
Yeah, I swim, and I power walk and I swim, and I tell everyone, and I talk about it in the book. Oftentimes, I'll get in the pool. I think that day is called "Go with the Flow." I'll get in the pool, and at my gym, and I'll have something heavy on my mind. So those first couple laps, I'm laboring. I'm pushing against the current. I'm pushing against the water. It's like taking so much effort to get from one side of the pool to the next. And then by lap 8, lap 10, something kicks in, and I'm just going with the flow. And whatever is on my mind just seems to be released. Situations are resolved. I get out of the pool, I'm invigorated, the cobwebs are, shaken out, and I get on with my day.
Yeah. So how much of it is getting into that flow? Because I'm thinking about the subtitle to your book, How to Stay Up When the World is Pulling You Down. And the reason I said it seems like it's pulling you down, because back to the gratitude journal, it's what are we focusing on? Sometimes I can get in that loop where it's like everything is going wrong. And I feel certain sayings like it's always something. If it's not one thing, it's another. People are trifling, and those are kind of like the opposite of affirmations. And then I think we get into a flow where it feels like the world is pulling us down. The opposite of that is focusing on what we want, our gratitude journal, finding a way to notice what is working even when it's hard. And that is you in the pool, to me, getting past the first few laps and feeling like things are dissipating. So how much of it is the world really pulling us down? How much of it is where our focus lies, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and we all have this programming that we've accumulated throughout our lives, whether it's our well-intentioned parents, the environments that we've lived in, things we've picked up along the way. I think of kids, young people these days, with social media, going down that rabbit hole. But there's something I started doing years ago. Whenever a negative thought would come up and I was aware of it, I would almost say out loud, cancel, cancel. I think there's a biblical expression, get thee behind me.
Yeah.
That was my way of doing that. Cancel, cancel. And then I would substitute that negative thought with a positive one. Now I do daily affirmations. I'll walk around. I don't care who thinks what about me. I'll be at my local park. I'll be walking around the park, and sometimes I'm saying it silently. Sometimes I'm saying it quietly to myself. I am purposeful. I am driven by, God. I am joy. I am, so that's where the reprogramming comes in. And during the pandemic, I came up with a daily affirmation, and I'll read it to you. I'll recite it if it's okay.
Yes.
Let my soul be aligned as God. Let my thoughts be Christ-like. Let my words be sage-like. Let my home be a haven, my heaven. Let all my interactions flow from a wellspring of love.
Beautiful. Erin Boyards-Dennis is my guest. 31 Days of Good Vibrations. That's her book. That's what we're talking about. It's dedicated to the victims of the Eaton and Palisades fire. How to Stay Up When the World is Pulling You Down. That's the subtitle. And we will continue the conversation when we come forward, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton Fire survivors struggled to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice, that's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, time flies when you're on the radio. Aaron Broyard, Stennis is here. We got so caught up in our self-help moments, which is one of my favorite things. Tell me about the connection to the Palisades. You dedicate this to the Palisades and Eaton, Altadena Eaton fire victims.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in the process, I think we got sidetracked earlier, but I was writing a book about the serendipitous synchronistic experiences associated with my husband's cancer diagnosis and transition. And I was writing that. I had attended a writer's retreat sponsored by the Good House, and Karen Mills Alston, daughter of the Honorable Billy Mills, who just passed away recently. She and her business partner put that on. And I was really leaning into writing that book, that other book. And then when the Eaton Palisades fires happened, it was like something dropped in my spirit when I asked, what is it that I can do to help? What is it that I can do to help? And that thing that I could do to help was to become the Good Vibrations lady on TikTok and Instagram. I have an itty-bitty following. And to write this book.
A growing following.
Thank you.
And where can we find you on? It's the Good Vibrations Lady on TikTok.
At the Good Vibrations Lady.
I did follow you on Instagram yesterday.
Thank you.
And so the Good Vibrations Lady. We all need more good vibrations in our life on TikTok and Instagram. And dedicating this book and setting that intention was what Spirit told you to do.
And I just followed. I put the other aside, which I will get back to. In addition to writing 31 more days of Good Vibrations. But yeah, I just listened, So once again, we all have that still small voice inside of us that wants to be heard. So I encourage people to power down, come off their devices for a little bit and be quiet, be still, and listen, because Spirit will always guide you in the right way.
Well said. Where do we get the merch, the Perfectly Imperfect shirts, and whatever else you have in your line?
That's on my website. So it's www.thegoodvibrationslady.com. So I have T-shirts available that have all sorts of wonderful expressions on them. And I just keep showing up and listening. And at the end of the day, I just want to help people. When you've been through stuff, when you've been in the trenches, life is better if you take all of that, take the lemons and you make lemonade.
I mean, and one of the most surefire ways to feel better is helping someone else.
Yes, it is. I talk about that. Yeah, make time to volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, help someone else. Get out of your stuff and help someone else.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. It is a pleasure to meet you.
You also.
And we've got about 30 seconds. What do you want to leave us with?
Ah, boy, what do I want to leave people with? I want to leave people with focusing on living your best life in the midst of where we are. You can do it if you listen to yourself and if you think of others and how, whether it's making that phone call to a friend you haven't spoken to in years or that parent you haven't spoken to in a while, if you forgive yourself, if you forgive others, if you just really lean into ancient wisdom that really isn't so ancient.
Thank you so much for being with us, the Good Vibrations Lady, on all platforms. Tavis Smiley's up next. You know what it is. He is on a mission, as per usual. He's got great guests and incredible information for you. Don't forget to tap in with me on social media. I also have a growing, not so giant, but growing and possibly shadow banned platforms. Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. You can find us at KBLA 1580 everywhere. Please like, follow, subscribe, and comment. All of that makes a difference. Like my mama, the late, great Diane Diprima, poet laureate of San Francisco, used to say, the ultimate famine is the starvation of the imagination. Until tomorrow, KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani says officials are reviewing reports of a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's West Side.
We are focused on connecting New Yorkers to shelter and on establishing a pipeline to stable housing, not just moving New Yorkers from